Undefeated USC still slides to 9th in the latest AP Top 25 poll. The Rams and Chargers have equal records and equally injured quarterbacks. And the Dodgers finished the regular season with 100 wins again. Good morning. I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the faithful Angelenos morning report. So it is October 2nd, 2023. I'm still stuck in Salt Lake City. I'll be on my way to the airport. That's why I'm recording this early, because by the time this clip posts, I'm going to be on a plane, home to see the wife, and cautiously optimistic that at one point this week, I'll see her naked. Fingers crossed, fellas. Fingers crossed indeed. But we're going to be happy because that's what talking about LA sports always does. And if you like being in the know about LA, clickety-clack the like button. Clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notification bell. Hit that. It'll let you know we drop new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. And by all means, comment, because it's always good to hear from you guys. I try to reach out back to you. Before we go through the news and notes, a look at the scoreboard. In the final day of Major League Baseball's regular season, the Dodgers got one more chance to slap that giant booty around. Dodgers 5, Slum Francisco 2. For the fourth consecutive year that wasn't shortened due to COVID, the Dodgers have at least 100 wins. They win the division, obviously. They are going to wait to play the winner of the Arizona-Milwaukee series. The NLDS will begin, we believe, on October 14th. We also believe that Clayton Kershaw's a lock to start Game 1 at Dodger Stadium. Also, Puka Nacua caught a 22-yard touchdown pass from Matthew Stafford in overtime. Rams 29, Indianapolis 23. Stafford threw for 319 yards in the game. He also got a little dinged up. We'll talk about that in a moment. We always love talking about who scores, but give it up for Khalil Mack. The man had 6 sacks for the Chargers yesterday, as the Chargers held off Las Vegas 24-17. Mack's 6 sacks is one shy of the NFL one-game record for sacks. Derek Thomas had the record with 7. And Chicha Arango comes back to LA, and man, he headed home a dagger. Real Salt Lake 1, LAFC nothing. LAFC is scoreless in 5 of its last 6 matches. Meanwhile, today, Orlando is in town. They're going to play Angel City FC at 7 o'clock. The two teams are tied for 7th in the NWSL. So what I'm going to start with is basically about as close to beating a dead horse as you can get away with on YouTube. No, not physically beating the dead horse, but you'll get the idea. Because I've been talking about what has been holding USC back on the national stage now for at least a couple of weeks. Another Pac-12 team now has leapfrogged over the Trojans in the AP Top 25 football poll. That would be Oregon. Last week it was Washington. So as a result, USC, which started the season ranked number 6, first they fell to 8th, and now they're at 9th. Despite the fact that they have not lost yet, despite the fact that they have last year's Heisman Trophy winner playing at an ungodly level, they are number 9. Now, if you are a Trojan fan, and I am a Trojans fan, you might be sitting there saying to yourself, this isn't fair. How in the hell does this possibly happen? So we have to, again, I hate to repeat it. I really do. This is not one of those, oh, I hate to say I told you things, and deep inside you know you love it. Hell no, I don't love what I'm about to say. Lincoln Riley's self-inflicted wounds are costing USC. For example, we have been talking literally since the Cotton Bowl about embracing sanity in football. It could be UCLA, it could be USC. The first school to embrace sanity is going to be the one that makes the difference. The first school that embraces defense as much as they do offense, that is what we're getting at. And what did Riley do? He kept Alex Grinch. Now, I've been saying this all weekend long. If you want to know why that Alex Grinch is so terrible at his job, if you want to know why Alex Grinch is so terrible at the defensive coordinating stuff, look on the USC playlist for Friday Night Chalk Talk. I went into a deep dive. I broke down the schematic flaws in what Alex Grinch is doing with USC's defense. That is why they are giving up so many points. That is why USC is not respected on the field. But there is also a second reason, which is just as important. And that is newspaper reporters are extremely petty. Absolutely. And I know this because I was one. If you recall, Lincoln Riley withheld an Orange County Register scribe from his press pass. Wouldn't allow him to cover the team. Now, you don't think the scribes are remembering that? You don't think the scribes are going to hold a grudge on behalf of one of their own? I know this. Again, I was a scribe. Now, we might be too cowardly to confront Lincoln Riley face to face and ask him what the hell is he doing, right? We may be that cowardly, but you know what that's going to mean? They're still going to do the passive aggressive thing and not vote for his team in the AP Top 25. So yeah, Lincoln Riley's self-inflicted wounds are costing USC football at the worst possible time. Meanwhile, O.J. Simpson is taking the time off from looking for the real killers to tell USC it's time for some changes in the defensive coaching staff. I don't think that's the type of advice or the type of help that people need in order to get rid of Alex Grinch. Even I don't hate Alex Grinch that much to deserve that fate, right? We don't need O.J. Simpson on the prowl trying to see who needs to be eliminated, who needs to be slashed, pardon the pun, from the USC coaching staff. Now, if Alex Grinch winds up dating somebody O.J. dated, all bets are off. But like I said, we don't hate the guy that much. Matthew Stafford of the Rams injured his hip Sunday. He was limping around the field for a good chunk of the game. Having said that, he is getting treatment already. The Rams coaching staff and Stafford do not believe it to be serious. All signs are pointing him playing next weekend in Philadelphia or against Philadelphia. Meanwhile, Puka Nacua is outpacing both Calvin Johnson and Cooper Kupp in terms of receiving yardage for a single season. That's how much he means to the LA Rams offense. And by the way, despite getting all those yards for the Rams, yesterday's game-winning touchdown was his first score of the entire year. So the question is, can Nacua keep the pace? I don't think so. I really don't. Look, the Rams are going to get Cooper Kupp back, starting next week possibly. You don't think that some of the targets Nacua has been getting all this time are going to be going over to Cooper Kupp? Right? But I will say this, if you put aside the idea of pursuing a record, it is singularly exciting to see Nacua, who, by the way, caught 9 passes for 163 yards yesterday. It is singularly exciting, the idea of him and Cooper Kupp on the field at the same time. The following is speculation. I would even go so far as to call it irresponsible speculation. So forgive me up front. But Chargers quarterback Justin Herbert, he cut his finger during the game, right? I think he got it cut by jamming his finger in a face mask of an opponent, of a Raiders player. And by the way, if you get a finger caught in the face mask and the player twists his head around, I think there's more to it than a cut. Here's why. And again, speculation. Could be totally wrong. If you have a cut finger, what do? You get a Band-Aid. You get gauze. So what the hell was Herbert doing coming back with a metal splint on his finger? Doesn't that suggest to you that it's more than a cut? That it's possibly a dislocation? Maybe even more. Now understand, I'm not trying to overplay this. If it's a dislocation, that could heal on its own in a relatively short time. And the Chargers are on a bye week. Nobody is talking about Herbert missing any time. They've got time to get him right. But I don't think it's a cut. I'm not saying it's much, much worse. I'm saying it's a little worse. I don't think it's a cut. The Dodgers, as we mentioned earlier, have reached 100 regular season wins. All I want to say about it are two things. One, I want the title. We know this team can win 100 regular season games. We've seen it over and over. So what does it really mean? You've seen me in a lot of different gear for LA teams during the course of this program. You will never see me wearing division champion gear because there's no such thing as a division champion. There is one champion. It's the one that gets to lift up the trophy at the end of the year. It's the one that gets the hokey parade downtown where everybody's standing on the back of a bus with ticker tape fluttering down. And by the way, been to one parade. It's the most overrated experience you'll ever have in your life. Root for your team, hope they get the title, avoid the parade at all costs. There is no such thing as a division champion. There is only a champion. And by the way, the second thing that I want to let you guys know about it, take a moment and appreciate what an accomplishment that really is, though. Yeah, you want the title. But the Dodgers won 100 games without Trey Turner, Justin Turner, Gavin Lux, Walker Buehler, Dustin May, Tony Gonsolin, and a garbage season from Julio Urias. Do you remember how much we loved Julio Urias at the start of the year? It wasn't just as a Dodger. Everybody was happy for him because he was supposed to be the guy for Team Mexico of the World Baseball Classic. Oh, Fernando would be so proud. I guess not. So yeah, despite all of that holding them back, 100 wins. Lance Lynn has been a net positive for the Dodgers. I think we all agree on that. But is that enough to secure a starting role for the National League Division Series? You could get by with a three-man rotation in that series if you think about it. So if so, you're saying, okay, Clayton Kershaw, Bobby Miller, and... Now, Dave Roberts talked with Sportsnet LA, and he was obviously vague about it. Quote, I don't know yet. Everything is on the table. Right now, I see him as a starter, but we're going to have some conversations, unquote. Who knows? The Dodgers AAA affiliate in Oklahoma City lost to Norfolk. That is an Orioles affiliate in the AAA championship game. 7-6. It was held in Las Vegas on Saturday. Michael Busch and Miguel Vargas each hit a home run for Oklahoma City. The Arizona Fall League, by the way, also opens today. There are not 32 teams in the Arizona Fall League, in case you were wondering. What happens is you got a handful of fake teams, and each one, they pull players from 5 or 6 major league teams to complete a roster, right? So the Dodgers are one of 5 organizations that comprise the Glendale Desert Dogs. Big whoop. But the reason I bring it up is there is a Dodger prospect worth keeping an eye on. Left-handed pitcher Ronan Kopp. He posted a 2.99 ERA in high single A. He also struck out 107 batters. He's pitched also as a starter and as a reliever, so obviously he's versatile. So if you have an idea of one Dodger guy to watch over the postseason, who not on the major league roster, he'd be it. Dorian Thompson-Robinson, formerly of UCLA, made his NFL debut for Cleveland yesterday. He completed 19 of 36 passes, and it was only for 121 yards. No touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Do I need to tell you that the Browns lost? Yeah, they did. 28-3. They got the hell kicked out of them by the Ravens. So we don't know if it's going to be a long-term thing. Their starter might be coming back next week. Sports Illustrated, meanwhile, wrote that the Bruins football team, their shot at a college football playoff berth is damn near non-existent. Their odds, 0.1%. Now, I mentioned earlier in the tape, I am a Trojans fan. But even I have to call shenanigans on that one. The Bruins lost one game on the road. What are we talking about here, right? Now, 6 Pac-12 teams actually have better odds than the Bruins of getting to the college football playoffs. Oregon tops the conference teams. They allegedly have a 40% chance of getting there. USC is third. They have a 14% chance of getting there. Now, I mentioned SI wrote this story, but they're not the ones who created these odds. That was by ESPN. By the way, these odds are not something you can find in a Vegas sports book. Don't book a Frontier flight. There's no need to wager on it yet. All offseason, we have talked about how the Kings had tough decisions to make on their prospects. You can't keep them in the minors forever, right? At some point, you got to make a decision. And the Kings' NHL roster, unfortunately, is deep. So among the players that the Kings had to put on waivers were forwards Sammy Fagemo, Akil Thomas, and defenseman Jacob Moverere. Now, with waivers, every team that's not the Kings have a shot to claim these players and more, so the Kings could lose them. They are very much hoping to keep him, particularly Fagemo, who is a sniper who could easily be claimed by another team. He's got some skill with his shot. Moverere, he's probably going to slide right back into Ontario, the AHL Kings affiliate, without much difficulty. But you let me know what you think in the comments thread. Talk to me about if you believe USC is getting screwed or if you think number 9 is actually a good spot for them in the polls. Talk to me about the Rams and Chargers still gutting it out, both of them 2-2, 1 quarter of the way through the season. And if you enjoyed the content, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We're talking LA sports every single day here. Thank you for watching. I'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Kian Corte El Queso production. Take care.